We'll go on and call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger. Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. You've got the minutes of the last two meetings. Y'all have had a chance, hopefully, to look at those. If there's no changes or discussion, the motion be in order to approve those.
The only change, Judge, we're going to have Ms. Ginner wasn't listed in the attendees. We'll change that. It'll be a little change we make.
Okay. Can you make that, Kenny?
Yes, sir.
With that correction, I so move. Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Treasurer's report, Glenna?
I passed out the report that goes through December 31st, 2012. As of 11/30/2012, we had a total funds balance of $5,795,657.76, and the fund balance on 12/31/2012 is $6,629,991.90. Right now, we're halfway through the year. Our revenues on the general fund are at 56.7%. Our expenditures are at 36.5%. The revenues on the road fund is at 57.8%, and our expenditures are at 39.6%. The revenues on the jail fund is at 59%, and our expenditures are at 52.4%. The revenues on the CSEP fund is 18.9%, and the expenditures are 17%. And the 911 fund, the revenues are at 47.5%, and the expenditures are 31.7%. Does anybody have any questions over the financial? We should be getting our audit. It did get released from the state, but we haven't got copies back yet. I should have those probably for the next meeting of last year's audit. Also, I passed out a report that I worked up on the home incarceration. And it just put together from the time of inception of this program until January the 7th, 2013. It goes over our revenues, the cash receipts from fees. Those are all the money we bring in from the people that are on home incarceration, the fees that they pay us. We brought in a total of $48,858.16. The savings from the jail from having these people out, it cost us approximately $23.03 a day to keep a county inmate, total cost. So we have had out since the beginning of the program through January 7th, 7,069 days with 187 participants. That comes up to $162,800. So we have a total income plus the savings of $211,658.16. Our expenditures include some startup expenses and the regular expenses through 1/7 from the time it started. And you can see those listed there with total expenditures being $111,702.56. So we did have, including the savings, a net profit savings of $99,955.60, which that is great on paper. We don't have cash. That's not actual cash because, as you know, our inmates still stay at 285 to 300 in there. So even though we've taken inmates out, we still are paying for county inmates over there. So that money just goes back to help pay for the county inmates that are in there now. But if we didn't have this program and we had 50-something back in there, they would be coming, probably taking our state inmates in there, and then our income would be going down. We would be losing a whole lot more money. We would have to be, general fund would be paying a lot more. So it's a great program. It is helping us.
Well, they'd have to come take them because you couldn't hold that many, stand them up.
How many you got? How many did you have this weekend, Doug?
Yesterday morning I had 290, and the state actually took 20.
Did they?
That's right. We had 290 yesterday morning. They allow us about 142%, which is 240. They'll let us get to that area. We're 290 yesterday morning.
And every time they take some, you can see our monthly income will drop down for a month or two until we build back up. We'll drop from $75,000 a month down to $55,000.
I think I have right now around 47, 48 states. We've got like, people in the hospital.
Well, we can't, I mean, what do you do? I mean, jury, can y'all handle 40 more if they got approved?
Build a Class D felon house, put 100 in it.
Suits me, Judge.
That we get paid for.
Roger, I didn't know you were coming, or I wouldn't have started.
It's all right. I didn't know it was gonna make this quick.
Well, I mean, as broad as it is long, there's nothing you can do about it. You gotta do something.
Well, we'll talk about it this week. I'm gonna bring all y'all in and see, because I think if things work out the way they need to, we need to go on and look this Class D felon house, get 100 out of there. You know, we get paid for them, and then Doug's got enough room to operate over there safely. And, you know, it's just something, you gotta bite the bullet and do, Larry. It's,
I agree. I mean,
we're growing and growing. You know, he used to average 200, and now it's 250, and now it's 300, and if you look at it, it's 340 if we didn't have the 50-something people out on home incarceration.
well, if the sheriff didn't have the home incarceration, we'd already been in trouble.
Then they had that bill that a couple years ago that reduced the number of people they were putting in jail too, so it's.
It doesn't look like it's helped
I
us
think still it's helped a daggone bit.
It's not gonna work good, but it didn't amount to a lot.
You have any questions about any of the reports?
I don't, Glenna. Let's see, Roger. Did you get a copy of this? She went over that. Yeah. Okay. We'll go on. It's a short agenda today. First on the agenda is Carl's going to give us a CSEP EMA year-end report. Carl?
Put the packet in your guys' packets on Friday. Hopefully you guys got them. I brought some extras in case you don't have it with you, but go over it real briefly. Talk about the things that were accomplished or completed in 2012. Basically finished the siren upgrade project with the addition of 5 more sirens for a total now of 90. I gave you maps showing the original 29 and maps showing the 90, so you can see, and I figured that picture was worth 1,000 words. But bottom line is, the old 29 sirens, we covered about 35% of the population and structures in Madison County with the FEMA 70 dB required in urban areas, and about 60% best case scenario on the 60 dB requirement for FEMA. The new system, basically, we're now covering 80% of the population and structures in Madison County. So you can see we went from, 60 and 35, depending on the number you're using, to 87. So we've only got 13% of the county not covered, which is pretty phenomenal, and that 13% of the county would be hard to cover and justify cost-wise. So we're now covering 30,786 structures with 60 dB compared to 19,000 before. And we're now covering 19,700 structures on the 70 dB versus 11,000 in the old system. So those are the numbers for you on the sirens. Advisor alert radios, the weather boxes as some people call them, we've got about 31,000 of them out now. We're done with deliveries. Now we're just in maintenance mode. The newest thing we still got to work out is we're going to deliver some, working with a church out in Poozy Ridge to get some to residents out there, even though it's outside our 9.2 miles from the depot. But we've tested and we've got good coverage out there because of one of our transceivers are out there, so transmitters is out there. So we're working with a local church. We're going to give out about 100, we think. That's what we see on the map that we can cover. In 2012, we spoke to about 3,700 people. That was down a lot. This was the first year in 8 years we didn't do a safety fair. And a lot of the businesses have cut back on their safety days. Normally we go out and talk with all the factories, workers, and they typically have one in the spring and one in the fall. Well, this year a lot of them just had one in the summer, and they were cutting it down. Instead of being, a all-day event, it was 2 hours, and they're like, you can come set up, but you're not going to get dedicated time. So our numbers are down. We're going to shoot again for 5,000 next year, but this was the lowest number we've had, 3,700 face-to-face contacts in any given year. This year we trained almost 1,500 first responders, first receivers. To put that in perspective, the state trains about 3,000 across the whole 120 counties. In Madison County, we trained almost 1,500 by ourselves. So, with bringing in various organizations to do the training, but that's a pretty awesome number. English and Spanish calendars are out. Haven't heard a lot of feedback. They were mailed in the week of Thanksgiving. We developed it again ourselves, and we continue to save money on that project. It's actually costing us less now than it cost us about 18 years ago. So other than the mails went up to mail them, but everything else has went down with us creating them ourselves and then getting them printed and bidding that out. Continue to do cross-training and improve the people skill sets across the EOC positions. We'll continue to build partnerships with EKU. We've got a couple new programs that have joined us here in the last year. We've always been involved with the EMA program and the nursing program and the paramedic program and Homeland Security, but now we have the psychology students involved too, and they're turning out to be some really great patients for us at field decon and at the hospitals. Mass notification system, Everbridge, is fully functional and has been utilized several times this year. It's a great system, and it's proven to be another tool in the toolbox to warn people of different events. And then we'll continue our 3 national CSEP level conferences that we're part of: the public information, the training and exercise, and automation and alert and warning. So that's a bunch of it. Exercises 37 last year. I'm not going to go into all the details. Extensive public outreach. We had about 5,093 hits to our website, which was redone in June of 12. We did both parades at Christmas, the Richmond and Berea parade. That was always fun. We also did this Madison Southern Homecoming Parade with our Wally mascot, Wally Wise, the mascot. Ads, had about 115 in the local papers and magazines, and we continue to do all the sports programs at both colleges, all the county schools, Berea schools, and Model, and anyone else that has a sports program. Did about 550 radio commercials this year dealing with particular shelter in place, know your zone, those kind of things. And that's really it as far as the public outreach. There's a bunch of different things that are in your list. The big things for 13 that we plan to do, we're going to be doing a redesign and rebidding an expansion on the EOC. We had a conference call this morning on this. We hope to be bidding this here in the next 2-3 weeks. We're going to add about 13,000 square foot to the current EOC. It's 14,500, so almost doubling the size of the building. A pretty big project. The building itself is estimated to be in excess of $4 million, and then there's a bunch of other things with engineering and stuff, design work. We'll be moving in 2014 for about 12 months down to the Berea EOC and Berea JIC, because we're going to vacate the current EOC in order to allow the construction to go faster. Army would like us to be done and into the new facility by 2015, so we're going to have to move pretty fast to support operations in 2016. And we're doing the 10 CSEP County media campaign. We're organizing that and running that. We've got that. Probably will start here in March. Or late February, early March will be the first ad you'll start seeing, and there'll be a set round of them in all 10 counties. So, and we're the ones implementing that contract, which is about a $500,000 contract. Any questions on the year-end report?
When you say you're gonna be moving to Berea while the construction's going on, they got enough room for you?
Yep. Already met with Randy Stone and got it all figured out. Yep. We're gonna move into the backup EOC and the backup JIC, and it will work. We're going to have probably a couple people that still come up here to keep an eye on things and keep an eye on our current JIC, because it's used by 15 or 20 different organizations for training. I mean, law enforcement uses it, fire uses it, school systems use it, Head Start program uses it. So we'll keep somebody up in this area to keep an eye on our stuff, so to speak, you know. But the majority of the rest of the group will be down in Berea.
That's the old Dresser building?
Dresser's the alternate JIC. The alternate EOC, backup EOC, is in the basement of City Hall. So.
And we are, Chief and I are working out something with the fire department, and I think Carl's worked it out on the coroner's office over to JIC, so.
Yeah, we're trying to work through those things now, having conference calls, and then we've got to work through rescue squad as well.
But we've got to be ready for this. I mean, they start destroying the mustard. They're figuring January 17. They want us open in 15. So, and then by then, Carl will be going 24/7, full crew out there. So it's important we get that, and the money's been kind of hard to get, and Carl's been doing a lot of begging and pleading, and got mission critical. and told them, get it down to the dollar, because if we come up $500,000 short, we're not gonna be able to do the project, and the government's telling us the project's gotta be done. So, Carl's doing a great job. I can't say enough about him, working with Terry and Washington to really make this happen. But it's gonna be a really nice facility that the county will own. And believe it or not, we're gonna move 911 over into this new building. For saving's sake, that way we've got people that can transpose. Some people can do things, 911 can do things that we'd have to have people on call to do. So Carl and I have worked a long time on this, and we just felt like talking with FEMA and Mission Critical that it was in the best interest, long range, after the nerve gas was gone, that we were all in one building so we could take care of it a lot better, especially with the expense.
Well, it cut the personnel down, be a savings.
It will in the long run. I mean, the most cost-effective way is to build this facility now large enough to have, 3 or 4 organizations in it and some growth in it for them, because then you've got one generator to take care of, one heating system, all those things continue to break in age, and, one roof to take care of instead of 2. It may look silly until you get into looking at it. Okay, what happens year 5 after the program, CSEP program's gone, and year 10, and year 15, and it's like, by year 5, it's like, okay, this was absolutely the right decision, to do.
Well, you could give the jail as a reference. We built it 115, so that's plenty. Needed 500.
So the additional space, basically just for the additional help that you're going to need?
Some of it's that. Some of it is to give the fire department a better facility, as well as 911 a better facility. So it's a little bit of everything, but mostly, if you talk about like the first floor, it's all the space is added for my group. Second floor, it's added to accommodate 911 coming back on board and give the fire department a more useful fire department. Because when that was originally designed, it was never really designed for a fire department, and there's certain things that a real fire department, it's in the design, it is inherent in the design for the safety of firefighters, and we don't have those features because we weren't designed to be a fire department initially back, in the late 80s and when they built the thing in the early 90s. So we'll fix those.
You do a good job,
We
Carl.
weren't designed to do fire department, coroner's office,
No, rescue squad. A lot of it was added on later, but we're going to fix a lot of it now and get a lot of things addressed.
Put a lot of block up to cover it up until they approved the building, and we tore it out.
But it'll be nice when we get it done. Last thing I gave you guys, did you see this little 2-pager? Our famous site slid in January, so that's number 4. And it will probably slide again. I'm not a genius or nothing, but it seems to be pretty reliable that it will slide again. They're doing a lot of work out there this time. Again, the state is. Everyone can keep going back there and doing these reactive measures, but until we do something proactively with some engineering, we're going to continue to see this happen. My biggest fear is what happens when it occurs and there's a school bus there when it occurs without warning. That won't look very good, since we've had 4 chances to get it right and we haven't done it. Not us per se, but it's a state road, but it's not going to quit sliding until something engineering-wise is done. And we're going out to look at it today with Dwayne and the Department of Soil Conservation, because it's an issue. So last thing I need from you guys is something odd. We have found during this expansion of the EOC, we're going to add what they call a communication shelter. It's just like the one I have. If you buy a new one, they're for about a 12 by 20, which is what I'm looking at. They're about $70,000 to $80,000 because they're tornado proof and bulletproof and earthquake proof and all that. We have found through Mission Critical a dealer who has gotten a bunch of them that are 5 and 6 years old from the phone companies as they've done their mergers, the cellular phone companies. I found one that we actually went and had inspected in northern Ohio for about $16,500 to $17,500. I want to buy it, but they go so fast. I need your guys' permission to be able to cut a check for this shelter, because we found 2 in Alabama that we loved, and before we could get down there to look at them, they were already sold. You know, like I said, they're selling, you know, if you buy a new one, it's 70 to 80 grand delivered. I can get this one between 16.5 and 17.5 delivered, and I've already had it inspected by the guy who helped build our commo sites here. It's the same type of building I've got. It might be one shade lighter or darker than my current buildings, but it's everything else is the same. So I need your guys' permission to be able to get a check approved for that. So, you know, it's.
A motion?
I do.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Carl, let me ask you something while we're discussing. Do I need to check and see if the cities would want to go in on this like we did the,
I got FEMA's approval to pay for it.
okay.
They told me, you got it in your commo money, buy it, it's a commo thing. I said, yes, yes. And they said, just do it. And they said, do it quickly because all the good ones get bought fast. The ones with graffiti and stuff that come out of the other locations are available, but I really don't want one that's been
What's it
graffitied.
made out of, Carl?
It's reinforced concrete with a stone aggregate sprayed on the outside. They're guaranteed for 50 years when you buy them new. That's what I bought with my other ones to last for 50 years. You know, they're 306, 30-06 bulletproof. Some 308, depends on their, you know, EF3, EF4 tornado proof, and usually seismic category 4 proof. You know, so that gets you up like a 6.5 on the Richter scale for an earthquake proof. So everything we need, they are, and I'm saving 60 grand. And like I said, I had 2 people go look at this one on Friday. They sent me the pictures on Friday. Thing is beautiful. A few cosmetic things, give it a power wash, put it on a foundation, we're ready to rock and roll. And we saved 60 or 70 grand.
Like Billy, get on with it.
Can you put inmates in them things?
What's that?
Could you put inmates in them?
I'm sure there'd be something against it because there's only one door.
Probably need to be a little bigger.
Okay, we got a motion. Larry, did you second?
Yes, sir.
Kenny?
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You, Carl.
Thanks, Carl. Doing an excellent job. And now, our excellent pro is here to give you all a kind of a year-end report on the golf course. And things look very good.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me this morning. Normally, we report on the fiscal year, but it's important that we continue to give outlines for calendar year operations due to the idea that many of our vendors and other businesses that we work with operate on calendar year budgets and things of that nature. So each one of you all have, you all have been getting your monthly period reports, I assume, and you all have your December 12 report. It should be in your packet. It comes with the outline for operations and rounds. So there's nothing but very good things to report about our little golf course. You know, the revenue comparisons for the fiscal year I reported, we returned $509,000 approximately to the general fund for revenues, and in the calendar year we've turned in $501,159 for the calendar year. So that is a 14% increase in revenue year on top of year as we look at 2011. $62,997 increase in revenues. So that is an outstanding number given our price structure. Our price structure, our top fee is $25 on the weekend, and so when you accumulate those type of funds over a calendar year, you can see the kind of volume. So our rounds comparison, we have cracked 20,000 rounds in the calendar year for our first time. That is 18 hole rounds. That is not starts. That is full rounds. 18 hole rounds, over 20,000 rounds. Last year, 2011, we completed the year with 17,224 rounds. That is a 16% increase in rounds activity at the golf course. So, needless to say, I am very pleased with the amount of activity that the golf course is experiencing. Now, in 2010, I developed a weather system, and that weather system is a scale that starts with 0 to 10, and it's based on the idea of how we compare weather on a daily basis. So the 2012-2011 comparison on weather, our weather comparison was 5.29 in 2012. Our weather comparison in 2011 was 4.6 7.1. Well, the variance was a 12%, what I would say, increase in weather. So our weather was 12% better in 2012 than it was 2011. So that gave us as I said, it gave us a 12% increase in better weather, so to speak, if you're looking at numbers. So let's tie that down to what we did in rounds. 16% increase in rounds, 14% increase in revenue. So we are a weather business. So if our weather's better, given the marketing we've done, given the efforts we've made on the golf course, we're going to get play. And we keep growing every year. And I let Magistrate Hughes peek at some of the operational trends that I wasn't going to hand out. I didn't want to overwhelm everybody with paperwork, but I'm just going to highlight some trends here that I'm really proud of. In 2007, the judge and I basically talked about a 5-year plan for the golf course. So we highlighted 5 fiscal years. Well, when we do the calendar year comparison from 2007, our revenue has grown 44% in 5 years. Almost doubled our revenue, which is an outstanding number. So you think about turning $510,000 into the Treasury this year, that is a fantastic, and almost getting neutral on our deficit. That's a fantastic benchmark for what we're trying to do. And everybody in the county has an opportunity to enjoy this recreative experience for a very, very low cost. We are still the lowest priced recreational experience as far as golf in our market. And the residents of Madison County and neighboring counties, especially the southern part of Kentucky, really enjoys that. And we're starting to see a little travel. I still don't think the economy is as robust as I think it can be. We're hoping for better things to come. But we're getting some travel from southern Kentucki's, especially given the stress that has been put on the general golf economy. You're seeing the National Golf Foundation had 17 openings in 2010 as far as new courses, 450 closings. So as you can see, golf business follows discretionary income. So when people have less discretionary money, they're going to choose the best product for the best price. And I feel like that we're really gaining ground in that. Some other things that I'm very proud of. We've had a 75% reduction in equipment repair over the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, we've had a 75% reduction. Now we've increased it. We've added a mechanic, but we've more than paid for our mechanic on a year on top of year basis, given the fact that it is expensive to do that stuff out of house, to send it out. Payroll is still under 50% of our total budget, and that's an extraordinary measure given our small operation. So we are still operating with our total budget on less than 50% of our expense, less than 50% of our expense is payroll. One thing that is not positive, and we have zero control over it unless we can dig an oil well, is gas is up 25% since 2010. End of 2008. Gas prices were $1.68 a gallon at the end of 2008. Average gas price this year was just a little under $4. So, and gas and oil affect the following. They affect fertilizer cost, general fuel cost, and they affect all other kinds of cost in golf operations that we use. We have a 28% reductions in deficits compared from 2012 to 2011, and I am very proud of this number. We have approximately $90,000 in concession sales with a 22.5% return on merchandise net profits. So I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with what we're accomplishing. The court keeps allowing us to make small improvements to the golf course. We have the reputation now of making one little improvement every year, and our customers notice it. We're viewed as getting better all the time. When people have that perception, they look forward to coming, and they look forward to saying, hey, look, they're trying to get better, so we want to help them. And that is something that I really am proud of, and we have an excellent crew. We have an excellent operation. Everybody gets along extremely well, and I've enjoyed the relationship with the court so much that I have nothing else to report except for good things. So I'll take your questions now and move along.
Clay, what percent of the people live out there are members? Do you-
What percent? That is about 38%.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't guess that's ever been asked, but I was curious.
It's a good question. We have 41 folks that own private carts, okay, 41. But we have an additional amount of folks that are residents who are members. Now, that's a very, very good question. Now, I'm not sure how many homes we have out there.
I don't know.
I'm sure it's in the 200s, maybe 300 homes.
They're almost full, though.
Yeah, now imagine if we could get everybody. Now, there's something I did leave out, which is very positive. We ended the year last year with 172 members in 2011. This year, we ended the year with 215. So, when you keep growing incrementally like that, you must be doing something pretty right. So,
There's several houses pretty close to the fairways. Do you get many broken windows?
Yes, sir.
And who's liable for broken windows?
the person that hits the ball, if they're honest, the person that hits the ball is really not liable. Okay, if they hit the ball and they're kind enough to go up and tell the homeowner, but the homeowner assumes all the risk of living on the course and the practice area. So, believe me, I hear plenty about that.
Yeah, we've heard several on that.
Several, yes,
Well,
sir.
all of them can't hit as straight as you, Clay.
Well, there was a day when I could hit pretty
The
straight.
wind chill on a car going down 25.
Yeah, we've had it all. Believe me, we've had it all.
You're doing a good job, Clay.
Good job.
Keep it up.
Yep.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
Clay. And just, and I think the court feels very comfortable with the golf course, the increase in membership, the increase in rounds, and the really good thing that I look at is we've never raised the rates.
And that is something that is we've experienced. I think inflation is set at 3% every year, and prices at the course haven't been raised since 2005. So we keep expanding our business, we keep growing the revenues, and we're allowing folks to play for the same price. So I think that is a testimony to how we feel about our residents, and we want people to have that experience for a very fair price.
Well, someday we're gonna have to look at building a clubhouse and expand the facilities.
Well, that'll be a good discussion.
I know.
I love
We
it.
got a few little things to do the course first,
Yeah.
then we'll talk about that.
But that will be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for Clay? If not, excellent report,
Thank
Clay.
you.
You're doing a
Thank
great
you so
job.
much.
Thank you very much. Judge's report, I just had one thing. Mayor Conley will be speaking at the Berea Chamber Luncheon on January 31st, and everybody's welcome to that. And I'm not sure, I'm meeting with both mayors this afternoon, but it'll either be at the Folk Center or down at Berea's new gym. And that's all I have on any comments from department heads. If not, comments from magistrates. Greg?
Just one complaint, I guess, is we'd have, and I bring it up quite often, is there trash on the state roadways. I mean, they're looking rough this time of year where the grass ain't growing, and I just wish we could, whatever we could do, maybe put pressure on the state or something. I mean, we help buy them a van and furnish them our inmates, and I don't know why we ain't getting it picked up, so.
Well, there's a lot of days, Greg, I think, seriously, between us, the weather's inclement, and it really isn't a good day to have them out. And we're in the dead of winter now and stuff, but I think Doug stays on them pretty hot and heavy, and, I think they get out every chance they get, but, you could put 5 vans and 6 prisoners in every van and couldn't keep the roads cleaned up.
Well, the thing, I mean, we shouldn't be accommodating the prisoners. We should be having them out working. And maybe they won't find it so luxurious to live in our jails. So, I mean, and the next time they might think twice, but I think we ought to be having them out, getting them cleaned up. So that's all I had.
Okay. Roger?
Apologize for being late for court, but I was at the ferry, and of course, most of you know by now the ferry's closed for a major construction project as far as the large cables that goes overhead are being replaced. They've already got them dropped into the water. And you talk about cold. I was down there yesterday, and they was in a lift truck on top of those tires that holds those cables, sandblasted. And the wind was blowing, rippling the water. It was, I mean, it was terrible. I don't know how they do it, but that's part of their job. And we questioned them 2 months ago. You know, what happens when the weather gets bad? Don't bother us. We got to work. So they're working. And sleet, snow, they don't care unless the river gets so flooded that they can't. They'll be there. But we're hoping to have it done in 10 days. Can't guarantee that, but we apologize to the people that does cross the ferry because we were closed 2 or 3 days before this started simply because of high water, which we have no control over. So we're actually going to be down at least 2 weeks or more before we get back up. So that's about all I have, Judge. Just want to give a report on the ferry.
Bill Wright?
I went to the Martin Luther King ceremony at the First Baptist Church yesterday evening, and I was so impressed by so many young people that was involved in that ceremony, and they just getting up, and it was encouraging to me just to see these young people, you know, taking an interest and participating and appreciating the opportunities that they have, you know, and so it was very encouraging and enjoyed that.
Good. Glad you were there. Larry?
Judge, I noticed yesterday that the state did put in place 2 signs there on 1016 to stop ahead. I guess it's yesterday or day, I don't know when it was, but anyway, that's a start.
We're trying to get everything we can. He said he'd do what he could, and when he got some money, we'd love to get at least some flashing yellow lights there is what we're shooting for.
Well, if there's ever a place needed, that needs it. But, I mean, that's a start, and I'm glad to see that they're doing that, and that probably will help.
Yeah, sure.
It will help. But, you know, I think some of those, well, I don't know what you call those things. Rumble strips. Would probably make another impact. Maybe, you know, I don't know if they've looked at that or not, but I'm just glad they're doing what they're doing, and other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Pay the claims, approve the transfers, motion be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barner?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. The next court date will be the regular scheduled second Tuesday of the month. Fourth Tuesday. What is today, Billy Ray?
28.
But it's not Friday.
Is this our second court meeting? Yeah, it'll be the second Tuesday in February. Huh? 12th at 9:30.
We got it. That's handy.
What's that say on there?
January?
Yeah, it's 12.
February.
12?
Okay. February 12th. Everybody knows. Thank everybody for coming in, and motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.